worried. I mean, I've got to get on with this. Look, I've told Janice I'll deal with it in a minute. Look, I'm not worried. These things happen. It goes round in swings and roundabouts. I'm used to it. I've seen it all before. Right? I know. But just assure her it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm ever so sorry. Welcome to Asgard. It's very nice to be. We've just come from what Janice calls a crisis meeting. And in these crisis meetings, it's all about statistics normally. She's quite concerned about the drop in the number of believers in the old Western Hemisphere. The Eastern lot, they're happy enough and doing fine there. It's just the Westerners. The figures do seem to drop from time to time, which is understandable, I suppose. But, you know, like any other major corporation, we just trying to think up ideas to bring people back to the fold, basically. So, of course, I'll just check on this. Yes, we got the dual soul discount incentive, and DSD for short. We also have PEG still, which is Peace, Eternity, Grace and Salvation. Then we're looking for more ideas, basically. In fact, things are looking so bleak that in the Western Hemisphere, I'm in fear of becoming so unpopular. I could go on that program. What's it called? I'm an entity, get me in there, or something like that. I forget what his actual name is. Anyway, so we're thinking of allowing what would be day visits. Mind you, I'm against it myself. What? Well, we can't do the day visits because it contravenes the first law in Bliss, doesn't it? But it does. There's no contact with people in the corporeal realm. That's what it's all. Oh, now look, you've made me drop my glasses. No, we can't. No, shush. We can't do day visits because they get to see the future, and we can't have people knowing the future now, can we? Look, don't make me drop my glasses again, okay? Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Trouble with the wings, as I say. So we can't do the day visits. We can't. Look, they go back there and they start blabbing, don't we? That's why we had designated prophets in the past. People are allowed and were privy to certain information. Anyway, we don't do that anymore. We don't do day visits or the assigned prophets much at the moment. There are prophets down there which get a vision and give encouragement, which is great. But we've got no active sort of initiative at the minute, shall we say. Yes, I know, yes, but look, we can't do the day visits. Even when we tried it the other way round, sending people home for a bit down on the old corporeal realm, or what they call home, I call this home, you know, here at Bliss HQ. But we can't do that. No, that's why we got the fourth rule. We can't let people go down there willy-nilly. It just scares them. Because, you know, they look a bit different now, don't they? That up here in old Bliss, you know. So, no, that's why we have the fourth rule. No more hauntings in Connecticut. It was scaring people so much that we had to have the fourth rule. As you know, no more hauntings in Connecticut. So, there we go. Now, don't start. Don't start. Get them told. Right, so as I say, we're doing a dual soul discount, the old DSD. We've got PEGs, which is Peace, Eternity, Grace and Salvation. You think about doing more promotional stuff, really. So the dual soul discount, if you haven't been kept up to date, that's all about where you can be guaranteed eternity for yourself, and with the dual soul discount, I don't know why I said discount, that's more like just an added value reassurance. With the dual soul discount, you get into eternity and bliss safely. And then also you've got the assurance that your loved one's going to join you here, basically, in one of my many rooms. And also you get the free gown with the I Heart Bliss. It doesn't say I love. It's got an I, then a heart, then a bliss. So it's I Heart Bliss. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. Don't start. Oh, really? If they wanted to say I love bliss, why didn't they write I love bliss instead of this I heart bliss nonsense? So it says I heart bliss. Okay, so there we go. Anyway, so we got that promotion at the moment, and watch this space for more, basically. So then there's these blessed targets as well, as Janice comes up with when going into these sort of marketing meetings. So at the moment we've got certain targets, but there's also certain risk factors to it. apparently. So if we don't get our targets, we're at risk of losing a particular service or whatever. A lot simpler in the older days. I won't go into that though. So at the moment, we have to achieve these, which is new members, which is 120 a day. The risk factor there is 22.5% apparently. Dual sold discount joiners, the target is 154 per day. The risk factor there is 33.32% apparently. Then there's GRFT. GRFT, that's a giant realistic flying tiger, isn't it? No. What's the GRFT then? Oh, getting it right first time. You're right. Sorry. Giant realistic flying tigers from Uncle Grandpa, isn't it? Yeah, rather nice show that. I get mistaken for Uncle Grandpa as well. Don't know why. But anyway, there we go. It's another thing, isn't it? So giant realistic flying tiger. Oh, sorry. Getting it right first time. 95% risk. No, that can't be right. 95% risk. We always get it right. That should be 95% with a risk of 5% or something like that. Yes, I think that one's wrong. Yeah, tell Janice about that. She'll be happy enough with that. So adding value 65%. Risk factor there 30%. Complaint handling 97. You wouldn't think people complain, but they do. I'll explain why in a moment. So 97% we could do with complaint handling with a risk factor of 47%. Yeah, so that's understandably high. I can understand that. Then there's compliance, which is 98%. The risk factor there is 23%. So there we go. So like I was saying, I much prefer the old days where things were a lot simpler. It's just christenings and baptisms and confirmations, bums and seats, as we used to say. Now, the complaints. I'll let them into the bit of a secret here. Yeah, we get complaints in Bliss, mainly due to the fact that some of you good people down there decided to go and try enforce belief on certain continents and countries, which caused a bit of chagrin, shall we say. So hence we do get complaints about, they made me believe. I'm not necessarily a believer, but I was told I had to believe for fear of losing my life and things like that. We don't encourage that. People are free to choose what they want, basically, aren't they? So we don't impose anything. It's humans that impose things. Okay, we offered the guidelines, as you know, the commandments and the do unto others motto that we have, haven't we? Yeah, I think we should do a run of T-shirts or something, or gowns with the do unto others logo. That'd be rather good. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, on with the show itself. So Mariah Good of Buckingham says, I'm a bit of a fan of The Walking Deaf. I think she means Walking Dead. Oh, Walking Deaf, that wouldn't be very good, would it? How would that work? I can't see how that would work. Because the zombies, they hear the humans and go chasing after them. They eat their brains, don't they, and their bodies and that. So if they were deaf, they wouldn't be able to go and... Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. So I think she means The Walking Dead. I think it's just a typo there. She basically asking, are zombies real, in short? Well, Mariah, no. Zombies aren't real. They're just a fictitious thing that people have contrived, which is currently a bit of a fad in the old movie and TV series business, isn't it? That along with vampires and werewolves and things like that. So, no, Mariah, zombies are just fictitious characters. When someone dies, they just come up here to old Bliss, really. And then there's the waiting room, of course. Well, you know it as purgatory. We call it the waiting room, don't we? Yes. So, there we go. So, Ida Wainwright. Can't be a real name, surely. Anyway, Ida Wainwright asks, why should we take things philosophically? Well, Ida, you don't have to. Some people just choose to, don't they? I think it comes from the expression that Senna made. Senna? Who am I thinking of? Seneca. Thank you. So, with Seneca, basically, he was accused of plotting to kill Nero, Emperor Nero, years and years ago. And he was sentenced to commit suicide, poor chap. And he's said to have taken that sentence philosophically. So you don't have to take things philosophically. It's just a choice, and some people choose to, other people don't they? Next, Stuart Forbes of Fenchurch asks, if you were in a vehicle caught in the accretion disk and spinning into a black hole, nearing the speed of light, would honking your horn work? And if it does, would you hear it before, after, or during that? Well, Stuart, I think if you going near the speed of light and into a black hole, the last thing you'll be thinking of is honking your horn. It's not going to stop anything or anyone, is it? It's going to make anyone aware that of your presence there, as the highway code stipulates. Regarding to the sound itself, it probably, well, you'd honk your horn and then you'd hear it a few seconds later. So it'd be after. That's the answer you're looking for, I feel. Anyway, so what else have we got? Next, Hornblower. D-Dar Hornblower. What type of name is that? It can't be a real one. No, it can't be a real one. Anyway, he asks, whatever happened to Schrödinger's cat? Well, I think you're missing the point there. The whole point about Schrödinger's cat is that we didn't know if he was dead or alive, didn't we? When he was placed in that box with the isotope thingy. So that, I think Didar, if that is your real name, that you sort of missed a point there. We're not supposed to know really what happened with Schrödinger's cat. It's all about being but not being at the same time. As a philosophical answer to a scientific question. Anyway, moving swiftly on, Kyla McSturgeon of Poughkeepsie. That's in America, I think. Yeah, nice to hear from the Americans, considering what happened with Donald Trump. Right, yeah, don't get me started on that. Anyway, Kyla McSturgeon of Poughkeepsie asks this poser, is there ever a wrong time for something? Well, it depends on your point of view, doesn't it? I mean, if you decide to start reading a book when you're driving, I'd say that was the wrong time to do that. If you, plummeting to, certain doom in an aeroplane and decide you've left the iron on, again, I think it'd probably be the wrong time to talk about things like that. Then this one, yes, I'll just read this bit. Or if you, it's very specific, I'll explain why in a moment, it'll become apparent to you. Or you might have spent the whole day shopping with your partner for a particular item. Eventually you find the exact thing you're looking for, but realise at the till that you've forgotten your debit or credit card. So yes, in short, I'd say that was a wrong time to notice and say something. What? Yes, apparently it's very annoying. Did you not read it? Well, yes, we had a list of people write in with a very, very similar question. We had Selena Smith, Simon Hodgins, Tanya Yearsley, Bob Martini. Bob Martini sounds like a cocktail for dogs. Yvette Cairns, Abba Wenz, Romeo Scaglieri, that can't be a real name. Anthony Nodge. These all attest to this thing in particular, that there's always a wrong time for certain things, basically. Next, Royston Burr asks, what should I do when I'm tempted? It feels overwhelming sometimes and I just don't know what to do. Well, Royston, I personally don't get tempted. I know you lot do, and it can be intensely difficult sometimes, can't it? Well, I say I don't get tempted. I haven't faced temptation myself. Another part of me has, but I haven't. I'm saying that, I could be splitting hairs, because when there's like 2 chocolates left in a box, and it's a big box, and I think, what's the point in leaving the last 2? I suppose that would be a temptation anyway, even though I don't fall to temptation, basically. So basically it's down to choices, isn't it? And we always think that it's relatively hard to not do the right thing. We think it's easier just to do the wrong thing in situations. However, you just have to have patience, because eventually the harder things become easier, don't they? So the hardest option is to not fall into temptation, but if you practice it more and more and more, then it becomes the easier option, you see. So it's just learning not to fall into guilt and sin from taking the incorrect answer to the temptation, which means you fall into temptation. Just practice simply at first. Be aware of your thoughts and think to yourself, when you feel that the temptation cropping up, you just sort of think to yourself, oh, hang on a minute, no, I'm realizing I'm thinking about that, so I'll choose not to think about that. That's a good start. And then when you do get into situations where you may well be tempted, you might feel like going along with the crowd, and that's conformity for you, but don't, basically. And the more you don't conform with what other people are doing, which is probably a bad thing anyway, what they're going to do, it's hard at first, but the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So you just got to have a bit of patience there and learn about that. So it gets easier the more you practice it, basically. Anyway, Anyway, yes, I do hear your prayers of temptation. Saying, "Oh, please, God, help me." I do listen, and where I'm able to, I act on your behalf or remove the obstacle. So there's always a way out of temptation. Anyway, so as you're aware, we've got these flipping promotions at the minute. It's like doing an end of call summary, isn't it, in the call centre? So we've got the dual soul discount. We've got PEGS, which is Peace, Eternity, Preservation, dual soul discount. All that malarkey. And then, you know, send your prayers in and your questions and things like that to ask God through the Facebook page, through email, text message, facsimile, letter, phone call, whatever you like. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page and like that, please. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube, of course. Well, that's about all we have time for today. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us, and please take care. Peace be with you. Bye.